Good morning, students. Today we are going to read the first poem of your syllabi, and that is Dust of Snow. This poem is written by Robert Frost. Now, before we proceed further, let's get a few very important information about the poet Robert Frost. Robert Frost was born on 26th March 1874 and died on January 29, 1963. Robert Lee Frost was an American poet, and his work was initially published in England before it was published in the United States. His few notable works are A Boy's Will and North of Boston. Robert Frost won Pulitzer Prize for his poetry. Now let's have an introduction of the poem Dust of Snow. Robert Frost, a well-known American poet of nature, in this poem presents a moment that seems simple but has a larger significance. Larger significance means larger importance. This poem tells that even a simple moment has a large significance. And the poet tries to explain that how insignificant things changed his mood and brought positivity in his life. Insignificant means something which is not considered to be important. And in this poem, dear children, the poet tries to explain us that how an unimportant thing brings a change in his mood and brought some positivity in his life. Now, let's start with the poem. And the first stanza is, the way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree. Firstly, we will discuss some word meanings. Shook means to move. Dust, tiny particles, small particles. Hemlock tree, a highly poisonous European plant. Now here's the explanation of the stanza. In the stanza, dear children, the poet is talking about a winter's day when all the tree tops were covered with the snowflakes. The poet was walking under one such snow-covered hemlock tree, and the hemlock tree is called a poisonous tree. So, one could not associate it with anything positive. Hemlock tree means a poisonous tree, so it means it could not be something positive. How could a poison be positive, right? And however, a crow alighted on this tree suddenly, and because of that sudden motion, the mass of snowflakes fell down on the poet like rain. The snowflakes were so light and small in size that the poet thought they looked like white and dust particles. So, in this stanza, dear children, the poet is talking about a winter day when all the treetops were covered with the snowflakes. And one day the poet was walking under one such tree, and that was a hemlock tree. Suddenly, a crow flew upon the hemlock tree, and because of which the mass of snowflakes fell upon the poet like a rain. And those snowflakes were so light in weight and so small in size that the poet thought as if they were looking like a white dust particles. Now, the second stanza is has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. Now, let's discuss the word meanings first. Mood means a state of mind, and rued means held in regret. Now, let us discuss the explanation. Now, dear students, let's discuss the stanza 2. And the stanza 2 is has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. Now let's discuss the difficult word meanings first. Mood means a state of mind, and rued means held in regret. Regret means to feel sad about some wrongdoing. Now let's explain the stanza. In the stanza, the poet explains to us exactly in what way the shower of the snowflakes had an effect on him. He says that it changed his mood. That is to say, he had been in a sad or despairing mood, and the snowflakes falling on him all of a sudden gladdened his heart. However, the shower of dust like snow on his shoulder changed his mind. It made him feel that the day had not been a complete waste. At least some part of that day had been pleasant, since it had given him a new experience that he could treasure. So, in this stanza, dear children, the poet explains what was an exact effect of showering of those snowflakes on him. He says that when those snowflakes fell upon him, his mood was completely changed. Earlier he was sad and he was in a despairing mood. But when those snowflakes fell upon him, it suddenly gladdened his heart. It suddenly made his heart feel happy. And the shower of snowflake changed his mind completely. And he felt that the day had not been completely waste. At least some part of the day had been pleasant now, since it had given him a new experience that he could treasure, that he could enjoy, that he could value. So, dear children, in the second stanza, we saw that how those small particles of the snowflakes have changed the mood of the poet. And in this way, we saw how the small things matter a lot sometimes in our lives. So we have to give importance to the small things in our lives as well, because you never know how may they help you in changing the way of your life. Now let's discuss the message that we got from this poem. Now let's discuss the message that we got from this poem, dear children. The message given by poet Robert Frost through the poet Dust of Snow is. Now let's discuss the message that we got from this poem. The message given by poet Robert Frost through the poem Dust of Snow is a positive change can take place through negativity also. And the little thing can bring big change in life. So, dear children, a positivity or a positive change can take place through negativity also. And if we see it in the context of the poem, then we'll say that, as we saw, Robert Frost took the example of the bird crow and the hemlock tree to convey his message to us. And dear children, mostly in the poems, what do we see? We see that the birds which are mostly taken by the poets in their poems are nightingale, cuckoo, koel, and peacock, some beautiful birds, some beautiful singing birds, some beautiful looking birds. But here, the poet has taken the example of crow. And the crow is a bird which is not mostly liked by the people because of his coarse voice. And we do associate sometimes the crow with some negative signs also. And on the other hand, he is using the example of hemlock tree also. And mostly, the trees which we heard in the poems of the poets are banyan tree, oak tree, cedar tree, isn't it? But here, the poet took the example of hemlock tree. Hemlock, a poisonous plant. Again, something which is associated with negativity, something which is not being liked by most of the people. But still, these two things, the crow and the hemlock tree, the insignificant things, have brought a big change in the mood of the poet. And as we saw in the poem, earlier he was sad and he was in a despairing mood, hopeless mood, but suddenly, through the gestures of the crow, those snowflakes which touched the body of Robert Frost from the hemlock tree, his mood got suddenly changed. So, in this way, we have learned that sometimes the things which we consider negative or insignificant, they also can play a vital role in our lives. So, this is what the message of this poem, dear children, that a positive change can take place through the negative things also, or through the insignificant things also.